25:15.
Have a great show of your life.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you. And welcome to You Have Real Estate with me, attorney Justin Clark. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, seasoned investor, or even looking to sell your home, this next 30 minutes is designed just for you. Think of like hitting multiple open houses, all from your living room, but with my attorney advice throughout the way. Any questions whatsoever, we have people standing by right now. 407-205-0400. Maybe you want to start that house hunt right now or this weekend. Dallas Lehman with You Have Mortgages standing by to get you pre-qualified right now at that very same phone number, 407-205-0400. Great show in store today, but first, it's time for the opening statement. The opening statement today is brought to you by my good friend Stephen Bader, the COO of IQ Power Solar. They are not just a sponsor, they are friends, but they've also saved me on my electricity bill every month. Literally, I went from $500 a month. Now I pay $50 a month, all because I went solar. I love it. I'm not fighting with the kids about turning the lights off. I'm not fighting to keep them at 75 degrees and making them sweat all night. And it's all because I went solar. It's all because I went solar with IQ Power Solar. Steve, how did we do it? COVID has really made a big impact for a lot of us that are in our working years. We've lost a lot of jobs, or even better yet, some of us have been working from home and now it's time to go back to work and we can't stand the thought of seeing our boss again. So what is going on in your head? You're thinking, I watched that Clark kid on Saturdays talking about real estate. Maybe I want to start in real estate. Maybe I want to start a career in real estate. But I'm going to keep my day job. I want to do real estate as a side hustle. Is that a good idea? We're going to answer that question here over the next 30 minutes. But also, maybe you thought, I don't want to go see that boss again. I'm going to become my own boss. I'm going to go buy a business. Is that a good idea? And how can you do that if you decide to go that route? We will answer that as well. And lastly today, we're going to solve the age-old debate, rural versus suburban versus city living. Which is best? It's going to be a great show. Don't miss one single minute. And now it's time for real questions. Every Saturday here on You Have Real Estate, we ask real questions to the truly trend-setting people in Central Florida's real estate community. Today on the show, return guests, dear friends. Glad to have you back. It's Jack Luiz, Saxon Evans. Gentlemen, welcome back. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
And last time I saw you, it was kind of at the beginning of the whole COVID nightmare, so to speak. We got residential, we got commercial. Let me start with you, Jack. What is going on in the residential market here because of this pandemic?
The market's still hot. It's on fire. Let's face it, these houses are just flying off the shelf right now. And the rates are really, really low. Right now is a great time to buy. So right now, the market, it's hot, and I think it's going to stay hot.
And a lot of people think real estate's real estate, Saxon, but sure. I don't think that a lot of people understand there's a huge difference between residential and commercial. It's almost impossible to be a successful residential agent and commercial agent. You specialize in commercial. What are you seeing down on the ground in the commercial market now because of this pandemic?
Sure. We're seeing all sorts of movement, really. I would have thought it would have been a lot worse for the market, but people are scared that the value of the U.S. dollar is going to keep falling, and so they're just trying to get hard assets in residential and, in this case, cash flow and commercial properties.
So parking some money in real estate right now for people who are scared of the dollar or what's going on. The stock market's good right now, too. It's, I think, at a record high as we sit here today. But I think there's still some underlying fear maybe that might end up going down. But real estate's a great investment, I think. I mean, what do you think of real estate as an investment tool, Jack?
I think it's great because there's just so many people that are moving to Florida each and every day. Let's face it, with the weather and everything we've got here, it's a hot state. You've got so many people that are moving here, and there's just not that many houses here. So supply and demand really comes in. But the rates are low. The houses are going up equity a lot a year. It's a great time to buy.
Yeah. And let's start with real estate as a career here for a minute too, because whether you seriously, you're going back to work now and you've been home for 4 months, 5 months, and you're like, I can't stand the thought of seeing my boss again. It was okay working for that guy when I was doing it from home, but going back there, oh no, I'm not doing that again. So you're going through your head, what are you going to do? And a lot of you have come up and asked me, Justin, should I become a realtor. And let me preface this, gentlemen, with I've talked to a lot of agents, and the successful agents I talk to have never really done it part-time. I mean, it is a full throttle, 24-hour-a-day job to do it successfully. Now, anyone can be a realtor. You pass the test, you can become an agent, yeah. But we're talking about you want to support a family by being a real estate agent. Can you do it part-time? Saxon, let me just start with you. I'm going to ask you straight up. Can I do real estate as a side hustle and support my family?
I'd say with commercial real estate, you can't. It takes 9 months to 16 months to even get your first deal off the ground because of the size and the complexity. I wouldn't suggest it. I would, if you're going to do it, quit your day job and make sure you have about 1.5 years, 2 years worth of savings because you got one shot at it. So
yeah, Jack, what do you think from the residential side? Real estate as a side hustle?
No, definitely get into it with both feet. Jump into it. Full force, and it's a full-time job.
And more sometimes even than a full-time job. I mean, the successful agents that I know, they're not working 9 to 5, guys. And don't you think for a second that, they're going to go show a few houses on Saturday. They're playing golf the rest of the week. It's not how it works. I mean, it's almost like my job. 24 hours a day, I'm emailing clients back, responding to phone calls, that sort of thing. It's the exact same thing, Jack, in real estate. To be successful. Yeah. I mean, if you're out there working for a buyer, showing them houses, and you're in a neighborhood and you see a house that just popped on the market or whatever, and you call the agent, you want to see the house that day, essentially, right? Oh, yeah. And if you have a realtor who's not being responsive, I mean, that day, it can really affect the sale. I mean, and your client, as the agent, as the listing agent, might not sell the home because you weren't available via phone.
Yeah, and the consumer today, they want everything right now.
Of course,
and
absolutely.
With the internet at their fingertips, they've got a lot of power.
Yeah.
They can get online and they can really view these properties really quick. And if you're not answering your phone, you're going to lose out.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? How long, if I go take the real estate exam, become an agent, how long do you think before I can really make some decent money? What's average?
I would at least say 6 months. You need 6 months is fair. By the time it's going to take a month or two to get up and start putting the word out and really touching your sphere of influencing, and then probably another 45 to 60 days to close and get money in your pocket.
I mean, it's gonna, no matter what, it's gonna take several months before you start making money
Correct.
in this business. You got, like Saxon was saying, you got to make sure you have some savings. Don't just jump into it willy-nilly and say, you know what, I'm gonna be a realtor. I'll do it part-time and make a lot of money. It really doesn't work like that. I do not recommend you changing careers into real estate unless you're gonna jump in full-time and go full steam ahead. And even at that, it's going to take a while before you start making money. You're going to have to understand this. You're not getting a paycheck. You're not going to get a W-2 paycheck at $15 an hour. You have to go. You got to kill what you eat in real estate. You're a self-employed person. No one's going to hand it to you. Even if one of these big real estate companies promises you this or that, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to you. It's going to come down to you getting out there and digging up deals. And it takes some time to really figure out how to do that. That's what I would say.
And once you sell that first house, you're basically out of a job.
Yeah,
You've got to run around and you got to start back over and find another house or another commercial piece of property.
Very, very true. So, hey, Saxon, let me get to you, because one of your listings here is actually a restaurant that is for sale, I guess. So,
well, it was for lease. So that's actually, with what's going on with COVID, I wanted to send in some things that went well when the market's kind of going crazy. This one actually was a business I was operating.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Hey, Derek, let's go ahead and go to this Garibaldi restaurant while we're here. Let's show some pictures too. And this is for someone who maybe wants a career change.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually had bought this building for one of my clients, and it had a tenant in it, Garibaldi, who was operating. They did a great job inside. They've been around for about 20 years. And then COVID happened, and they went out of business. So I had to find another tenant. And I called every Garibaldi in Florida and seeing if, just because we wouldn't want to change the signs, and we found one. We did it. So we got him to step up, and it was a guy who had never had his own restaurant. He'd always worked for one, and he wanted to start his own business, and got an investor, and they did it. And they signed the lease 2 weeks ago. So.
Unbelievable. I mean, what kind of cash do you think it takes to really start your own restaurant in this kind of situation?
A lot. I mean, luckily this one had all of the bones in there. You had all of the kitchen equipment and everything like that. So that's huge. That's several $100,000. And the lease itself was several $100,000 plus any build out inside. So you're looking at close to $750,000 to $1 million for something this size.
Right. And let's say I'm going to buy an existing restaurant. Again, I got to go back to work. I hate my boss. I want a career change. I want to get into the restaurant business, which, I mean, we all hear rumors that it's tough. You really need to know what you're doing. But I want to buy a restaurant. Someone's selling an existing restaurant for $500,000. How do I get financing for that? What's my down payment? How does that process typically work?
It really depends on what kind of strength you are as a borrower. So you'd get something, an SBA loan, a small business loan, and you could get between 5 and 10% down, and then the bank will come in and finance that for you for a short amount of time. But you really got to have some savings to do that, because with restaurants, it's either make or break in the first 2 years. Otherwise, you still owe that money, and you're out of all your savings. So
I always think about you too when I see all my offices in Maitland. A bunch of big buildings there, big office buildings. Then my parking lot, for instance, it was full, and then one day governor shuts this down, and even to this day, Saxon. Maybe a quarter full. I mean, what are these landlords doing? Are there a bunch of people defaulting on their leases? What's going on commercially?
So there's a lot going on that side. You've got a situation where a lot of these offices don't need the amount of space they did before. They come back in and say, well, 30% of our staff can work remotely, so we don't need it. And we'll either walk out of this lease and you can sue us, and the court has no precedence on what to do with a COVID lease that went belly up. So a lot of times the landlords will deal with them and say, okay, we'll give you 50% of the space, just don't leave. And it's easier said than done, because a lot of times they do leave and you're stuck with all this empty space and nothing to do with it. So I think we're going to see a transition to maybe more data banks and things like that, where they're using technology to fill that space, because we just don't need the space for people. And
let's say you're talking to someone who does want a career change, and they say they want to buy a business, an existing business from you. I mean, what's your advice in that situation?
It's really tough. Make sure you have 4 to 5 years worth of staying capability when it comes to cash, because usually we have a 10-year cycle. It's been 11 years since our last interest rate cycle. If we have an interest rate pop, you might be waiting 3 to 5 years before your coffee shop gets off the ground or whatever you're trying to do. So
exactly. And what are you seeing people start now? Are people actually jumping into the to the restaurant game, or what are they doing?
I was shocked with this lease on I think it was just the right product and the right fit, because this guy had Garibaldi as his name, and that's what his company was named. It just kind of worked. Most of the times it doesn't work like that, so you need to have a buffer.
Yeah, I think we all will understand that, maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, at some point things will get back to normal, I guess, or at least whatever the new normal is going to be. I think restaurants will get back to normal at some point. Everyone wants to eat. Everyone wants to go out and eat. So if we have a little bit of a vision, we understand in a year from now maybe things are normal. Is now a good time because I can go negotiate and lowball and get a really good deal, or what do you think?
So it's kind of tough because interest rates are so low. The bank doesn't want to make new loans on this because they don't want to get stuck with all this cheap paper for long term. So you have a situation where people think their properties are worth a lot more than they are. They think pre-COVID prices, and all the buyers are thinking deals. So there's that gap there, and that's why you're getting a little bit of a lag time in all this. So long story short, I'd say within 2 or 3 years, you're going to get some good buys when interest rates pop up. And if you want to track that, just track what's happening to the CMBS market, and you'll see how many foreclosures and the debt buyback that's happening. So
Jack wanted to know CMBS. I know, of course, because I'm the host of the show. But Jack wanted to know what you mean by that.
In short, it's the government lending to large hoteliers, and they had about $2 billion given back in the last 2 weeks. And so it's different between banks, because banks they don't have to force you to go to market. With CMBS, they do.
I see.
So that's why you have the foreclosures.
Right.
Wow,
you got it. And Saxon, that was another property here as well that you have. It's 7149 South Rio Grande. Tell me about this.
So this is an apartment building. This was 14 units, and this is another. I was trying to come up with nice stories, happy-go-lucky stories. This one closed earlier this week. It needed some work, but for about $65,000 a unit, it's a bit under market, and it's on a lake. It's nice, but what a lot of people are doing is they're afraid to put their money in the stock market.
Right.
They're afraid to put it in a savings account. They're getting 1%. So this will kick out 6, 7, 8% the way it is, and maybe 10, 11 once they fix it up. But it's going to take a lot of work, and you're going to have a great manager. So.
But, I think when we go back to normal, the rental market is still pretty strong for landlords. Right now, obviously, it's very weird because we can't evict people or whatever. But the rental market was very strong for landlords, and I think we'll get back to that at some point.
It still is, but you kind of have to be afraid of your tenants, because if they take you to court on an eviction, you don't know what's going to happen.
Right, exactly.
So everyone tends to give them a break.
Excellent job. Look, if you want to invest in commercial real estate, Saxon is your man. Give him a call right now, 407-205-0600. 0400. Now, Jack is the man when it comes to residential stuff, and I love working with you because you do a lot of work in the more rural areas, I would say. And there's a debate, man. It's city versus rural, and one of the best parts about living outside of the city is a lot of times you can avoid that HOA, right?
Yeah, and let's face it, a lot of folks today, they've got company trucks, they've got work vehicles that they're coming home from, and they just can't have those in the HOAs. And we're pushing farther and farther out just because the land is so scarce. You really got to go farther out to get, better deals on land, let's face it, because everything's so expensive. So we're going farther and farther out, but we're still staying with a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family home that we're putting up. And they're super nice, really nice. We put good features in them. 1,500 square feet under air, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just starting at $265,000.
Take me through this a little bit. Let's say that I have the exact same house, right? And I put it somewhere in Osteen. And then I have the exact same house I put in the middle of Oviedo. What is the difference square footage-wise, price-wise? Is it cheaper out in the more rural areas?
Oh, yeah. Oviedo is so strong. Let's face it, it's one of the fastest growing cities in Florida. So, your price per square foot is really, really high in the Oviedo area. Schools are great. When you get farther out to Osteen and Geneva and some of these farther little suburbs, we'll call them, you're really getting a lot of bang for your buck. That house is probably, I would say, maybe $30,000 cheaper in the Osteen, Geneva areas. You get into Oviedo, you're going to pay a premium for it.
Sure. Who moves out? I have a couple of good friends that live out in Osteen, like really far out. They love it. I mean, they feel like once they get home, no one's bothering them. They don't have HOAs. They don't have neighbors. I mean, they love it out there. Who is your client who wants to move out to Osteen? Describe that person.
Well, actually, I've been dealing with a lot of firefighters, police officers, because it's so close to the Sanford Airport. We're only 5 miles away from the Sanford Airport. You got a lot of firefighters out there. And, the Amazon distribution center is right around the corner in Deltona. And that's huge. And I would say your working man, your plumber, your roofer, your landscaper, any of those guys that have the company trucks, the vehicles, the trucks and trailers that they really can't park in the HOAs, that they need a little bit of elbow room.
That's such a great point. And what you don't understand is some of these HOAs, you can't even have a pickup truck, whether it has your business on it or not. Literally, they won't allow pickup trucks, period. Exactly. And if you're a contractor, you're some guy working in construction, you need a truck. And you get out in the more rural areas, especially if you're a self-employed contractor. You can even build a big shed and run your business from there as well, which saves a lot of money on rent for your business.
And let's face it, most of your footprints in your new neighborhoods, the lots are only 40 feet wide. So you don't have any room to do anything. Our lots out there are 75 feet wide by 150 feet deep. You got plenty of room to get in your truck and drive around the whole lot. So there's plenty of room to park your trailer there, or two.
100%.
So that's good. Paved road. And now there's a lot of USDA that's moving out there, so they're giving a lot of 100% financing to the buyers.
And speaking of Osteen, I think we have a property here out that way. Derek, let's show 300 and 312, I think, Osteen Maytown Road.
Yes.
All right, tell me about this one, Jack.
Okay, so 300 and 312 are brand new constructions. They're listed at $265,000. They're 3-bedroom, 2-bath. They're about 1,500 square feet under air. Now, these things are concrete block construction. They've got 30-year architectural shingle roofs, and they come with all the appliances. Turnkey package, all done brand new for $265,000.
Wow. So, I mean, if you look at a mortgage on that, and we can call Dallas Lehman and ask him too, but $265, you're looking at, what, $1,600 a month or something, PITI. You can't rent this place for under $2,000.
No.
Yeah, you can buy something here out in the country, away from a lot of people, for maybe $1,600 a month on the mortgage payment. That's including taxes and insurance and everything. And with the rates where they are right now, Jack, I don't understand why anyone would be renting. And also, I think a lot of people think that it's impossible to get a mortgage now because we went through the crash. I had a foreclosure 10 years ago. It's not like that. I mean, lenders want to lend. They really do, especially if you have a job and your credit is pretty good. You can probably get a loan. It doesn't make any sense to me for you to keep renting. Now is a great time to buy just because of where the rates are. So those are awesome properties, especially for a starter home or maybe even someone who's an empty nester now, and they want to move out of town, and the kids are in college or whatever. Another property here too, 2122 Dressage Cove. Where's this one, Jack?
Chiliota, Florida.
All right.
Yeah, and that's an amazing equestrian facility. Yes, that's a 40-acre equestrian facility. There's over 28 stalls. It's fully. You can do horse shows. You can train. These folks actually train dressage, and the wife was a U.S. Olympic gold medalist.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful facility. Like I said, it's a 40-acre facility. There's probably 20 acres that's dedicated to riding arenas. There's a covered riding arena. There's round pens. There's natural grass, turf. There's even, some artificial turf out there. And there is 7 apartments on the property, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. So it's an income-producing property, and it's so close to UCF with the equestrian facility team they've got there. So it's got a lot of pluses. And that covered arena is absolutely gorgeous.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the real deal right here.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, you can do horse shows there.
Yeah. I mean, you're not just buying this for yourself. You're buying this to make money.
This is a money maker. This is a fully functioning equestrian facility.
But you can live there, too, I presume. I mean, it's a beautiful house there.
It's got a beautiful house there, a 3-2 on it. And then, like I said, it's got the 1-bedroom apartments on it, the 7 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartments.
That's an awesome.
Great location, too.
What's the price point on this one?
This one's $3 million.
Okay. But keep in mind, that's a big number, I understand. But if you're making 10, 20 grand off of it a month, too, it's covering the nut and then some, probably. So if you're into horses and you want to live out in the rural area a little bit, but also make money based on your passion for your love of horses, I mean, this property might be for you.
Yeah, this is for the professional.
Yeah, do yourself a favor. If you'd like to see any of these properties, call Jack right now. Or if you really want to move out to that Osteen area, Jack is your man. 407-205-0400. Great job, guys. Hey, can you stick around for the real estate roundtable, by the way?
Sure.
All right, awesome. Really excellent job. Thank you for coming in today. And without further ado, it's time for the real estate roundtable. Every Saturday here on You Have Real Estate, I answer your questions from throughout the week. All you have to do, go to our Facebook page, You Have Real Estate. Ask me a question right there, and we just might answer it next Saturday here on the TV show. All right, let's go to Viviana in Orlando. How does price per square foot differ out in the country? I think we kind of addressed that earlier, Jack. I mean, is it significantly less per square feet when you get out?
Yes, it is. It's a good rule of thumb is probably 20 to 30%. Out in the country that you're gonna gain versus being in the city. You're gonna pay a premium for being in the city.
And are most of the properties out there HOA free, so to speak?
Yes, they are. Most of them are HOA free.
Do you have an HOA?
No.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me.
A lot of people are starting to hate them. I mean, I don't think it's a new hatred. I mean, let's be honest, it's been going on for a while, but sometimes it seems like they get a little worse and worse. I mean, look, if one HOA is not bad enough, in my neighborhood we have 2. Like two HOAs. One HOA is bad enough, so we try 2 checks a month in my neighborhood. It's great. So we have 2, let's say, bored people rolling around measuring my grass, if you know what I mean. Sam in DeLand, how much down payment do I need to make if I want to buy a business?
It really depends. With a small business loan, you could get away with 5 to 10% with good backing. So not too much, as long as it's sub $1 million. Above that, they start asking for more and some sort of collateral.
Is that right? Are you finding people lending right now commercially at all, or is it totally wiped out?
They're all over the place. To give you kind of a quick story, I've got a Walmart that was under contract, and they said they were going to give us 70% loan to value, where the bank will pay for 70 of it. They called us last minute and said, now we can only do 60, and we're bumping the rate 0.3. And they just said, we can't make the numbers work. And then they called me back 5 days later and say, we can do 78%. So I don't know what's happening underneath, but I think they're a little scared. But for residential, they're still trying to place that money because they know those are long-term loans.
Got it. Pat in Orlando, I own an accounting agency. Should I lease or own my building? I think that's for you, Saxon.
Really depends on your cash flow on that one. If you're doing well and you can afford it, I would try to pay down the debt and get it in your name as soon as possible. Because when you're dealing with banks, a lot of times they're hidden covenants and restrictions that when they get in trouble, it means you get in trouble. So it's better to run your own show, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I agree. Especially if you're going to be there for a long time. and you're a business owner, why not invest in that? And then you pay it off, and at some point you got $1 million in real estate there
equity.
that you would have had to pay rent somewhere anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I mean, all right. Let's see. Orlando in Kissimmee is here. Thank you. I'm so sick of my HOA. Are there some houses out in the rural areas without an HOA? We kind of addressed that as well. You think most of them probably out there without HOAs,
Yes,
huh?
most of them are. Yeah,
Which is a beautiful thing. And
It-
it saves
it
money
is.
per month, too, and you don't have to deal with the nonsense.
Oh yeah.
And no offense to my HOA attorney friends, and we get it. I mean, we understand that there's some benefit to it. It's just you're annoying us. That's all. At the end of the day, you're annoying.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Excellent job, guys. Any questions at all? 407-205-0400. Saxon will help you. Anything commercial-wise. Jack, anything residential-wise. They're both telling me that the market's hot. Market's great. We're in a pandemic. We are not in a real estate collapse. You agree?
Florida's hot.
Awesome.
Florida's
Not yet.
Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're looking to sell your house, give us a call as well. We'll be able to hook you up with that. You want to get pre-approved, Dallas Lehman is here, 407-205-0400. I'm attorney Justin Clark. See you next week for You Have Real Estate. Good job, boys.